Chapter 9, Mind the Citadel. I looked it up, the meaning of the word citadel, and it says is a strong fortress, a castle, or heavily fortified center typically built within or overlooking a city. Welcome to our reading of the book Mind, Character and Personality, Volume 9 by Ellen G. White, one of the 100 most influential Americans of all time. Every organ of the body was made to be servant to the mind. The mind is the capital of the body. The mind controls the whole man. All our actions, good or bad, have their source in the mind. It is the mind that worships God and allies us to heavenly beings. Yet many spend all their lives without becoming intelligent in regard to the casket, jewel case, that contains this treasure. Now that's an amazing way of describing the importance of our mind. The mind is the capital of the body. The body should be subservient to the mind. How interesting. There are many invalids today who will ever remain so because they cannot be convinced that their experience is not reliable. The brain is the capital of the body, the seat of all the nervous forces and of mental action. The nerves proceeding from the brain control the body. But the brain nerves, mental impressions, are conveyed to all the nerves of the body as by telegraph wires, and they control the vital action of every part of the system. All the organs of motion are governed by the communications they receive from the brain. The brain nerves, which communicate with the entire system, are the only medium through which heaven can communicate to man and affect his inmost life. Satan comes to man with his temptations as an angel of light, as he came to Christ. He has been working to bring man into a condition of physical and moral weakness, that he may overcome him with his temptations and then triumph over his ruin. And he has been successful in tempting men to indulge appetite, regardless of the result. He well knows that it is impossible for man to discharge his obligations to God and to his fellow men while he impairs the faculties God has given him. The brain is the capital of the body. If the perceptive faculties become numbed through intemperance of any kind, eternal things are not discerned. The strength or the weakness of the mind has very much to do with our usefulness in this world and with our final salvation. The ignorance that has prevailed in regards to God's law in our physical nature is deplorable. Intemperance of any kind is a violation of laws of our being. Did you hear that? Intemperance means lack of self-control. Using any substance or food to an excess that destroys or overwhelms the brain, it's not a good idea. Imbecility is prevailing to a fearful extent. Sin is made attractive by the covering of light which Satan throws over it. And he is well pleased when he can hold the Christian world in their daily habits under the tyranny of custom, like the heathen, and allow appetite to govern them. I don't think there's very many leaders in health, in physical health, in mental health, or spiritual health that actually teaches this fact, that what you consume What you eat, what you put into your body, actually affects the way your brain functions. This, my friend, is incredible. All should feel the necessity of keeping the moral nature braced by constant watchfulness. Like faithful sentinels, they should guard the citadel of the soul, never feeling that they may relax their vigilance for a moment. The mind must be trained through daily tests to habits of fidelity, to a sense of the claims of right and duty above inclination and pleasure. Minds thus trained do not waver between right and wrong, as the reed trembles in the wind. But as soon as matters come before them, they discern at once that principle is involved, and they instinctively choose the right without long debating the matter. They are loyal because they have trained themselves in habits of faithfulness and truth. We can train our mind towards good or towards evil. By beholding, we become changed. Though formed in the image of his Maker, man can so educate his mind that sin which he once loathed will become pleasant to him. As he ceases to watch and pray, he ceases to guard the citadel, the heart, and engages in sin and crime. The mind is debased, and it is impossible to elevate it from corruption while it is being educated to enslave the moral and intellectual powers and bring them in subjection to grosser passions. Constant war against the carnal mind must be maintained, and we must be aided by the refining influence of the grace of God, which will attract the mind upward and habituate it to meditate upon pure and holy things. If I need help, if you need help to elevate our minds into heavenly subjects, I need God's help, and so do you. Set your affections on things above, not on things on the earth. Colossians 3:2. The heart is the citadel of the man. From it are the issues of life or death. Until the heart is purified, a person is unfit to have any part in the fellowship of the saints. Does not the heart searcher know who are lingering in sin regardless of their souls? Has there not been a witness to the most secret things in the life of everyone? Sometimes we practice things and we think things and we see things in hiding, thinking that no one watches. But the author of this book is reminding us that actually there is a God that sees everything I do. I was compelled to hear the words spoken by some men to women and girls, words of flattery, words that would deceive and infatuate. Satan uses all these means to destroy souls. Some of you may thus have been his agents, and if so, you will have to meet these things in the judgment. The angel said of this class, their hearts have never been given to God. Christ is not in them. Truth is not there. Its place is occupied by sin, deception, and falsehood. The word of God is not believed and acted upon. It was when the Israelites were in a condition of outward ease and security that they were led into sin. They failed to keep God ever before them. They neglected prayer and cherished a spirit of self-confidence. Ease and self-indulgence left the citadel of the soul unguarded, and debasing thoughts found entrance. It was the traitors within the walls that overthrew the strongholds of principle and betrayed Israel into the power of Satan. It is thus that Satan still seeks to compass the ruin of the souls. A long preparation process, unknown to the world, goes on in the heart before the Christian commits open sin. Did you hear that? Satan doesn't come to us at once. He takes the time to deceive us. to indulge us, to lie to us. He prepares the way. And because we are not in constant prayer and reading of the Word of God, we fall prey to his deceptions. The mind does not come down at once from purity and holiness to depravity, corruption, and crime. No, it takes time to degrade those formed in the image of God to the brutal or the satanic. By beholding, we become changed. By the indulgence of impure thoughts, man can so educate his mind that sin, which he once hated, will become pleasant to him. Tobacco, in whatever form it is used, hurts the body. It is a slow poison. It affects the brain and benumbs the sensibilities so that the mind cannot clearly discern spiritual things, especially those truths which would have a tendency to correct this filthy indulgence. Imagine, she wrote these books in the 1800s. And when tobacco was just starting to become a substance of use. Do you imagine if she was alive today and see all the consumption of so many destructive substances that the human being actually intakes into his body? Those who use tobacco in any form are not clear before God. In such a filthy practice, it is impossible for them to glorify God in their bodies and spirits, which are his. And while they are using slow and sure poisons, which are ruining their health and debasing the faculties of the mind, God cannot approve them. He may be merciful to them while they indulge in this pernicious habit in ignorance of the injury it is doing to them. But when the matter is set before them in its true light, then they are guilty before God if they continue to indulge this gross appetite. On every side, Satan seeks to entice the youth into the path of perdition. And if he can once get their feet set in the way, he hurries them on in their downward course, leading them from one dissipation to another until his victims lose their tenderness of conscience and have no more the fear of God before their eyes. They exercise less and less self-restraint. They become addicted to the use of wine and alcohol, tobacco and opium, and go from one stage of debasement to another. They are slaves to appetite. Counsel which they once respected, they learn to despise. They mean by liberty that they are slaves to selfishness, debased appetite, and licentiousness. The indulgence of fleshly lusts wars against the soul. The apostle, in the most impressive manner, addresses Christians. I beg you, therefore, my brethren, by the mercies of God, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, wholly acceptable unto God. Romans 12:1. If the body is saturated with liquor and the defilement of tobacco, it is not holy and acceptable to God. Satan knows that it cannot be, and for this reason he brings his temptations to bear upon man upon the point of appetite, that he may bring them into bondage to this propensity and thus work their ruin. If men and women of intelligence have their moral powers benumbed through intemperance of any kind, they are in many of their habits elevated but little above the heathen. Satan is constantly drawing the people from saving light to custom and fashion, irrespective of physical, mental, and moral health. The great enemy knows that if appetite and passion predominate, health of body and strength of intellect are sacrificed upon the altar of self-gratification, and man is brought to speedy ruin. If enlightened intellect holds the reins, controlling the animal propensities, keeping them in subjection to the moral powers, Satan well knows that his power to overcome with his temptation is very, very small. If parents in past generations had, with firmness of purpose, kept the body servant to the mind, and had not allowed the intellectual to be enslaved by animal passions, there would be in this age a different order of beings upon the earth. Interesting, very interesting that the past generations influence the future generations by their habits. Every student needs to understand the relation between plain living and high thinking. It rests with us individually to decide whether our life shall be controlled by the mind or by the body. The youth must, each for himself, make the choice that shapes his life, and no pain should be spared that he may understand the forces with which he has to deal and the influences which mold character and destiny. Ellen G. White is my favorite author. Why? Because she makes me understand that I am in control of my life. I am in control of my mind. I do not depend on someone else to make choices for me. Present before the people the need of resisting the temptation to indulging appetite. This is where many are failing. Explain how closely body and mind are related and show the need of keeping both in the very best condition. It's interesting how science has caught up to this author. You know, in the times that she wrote that tobacco was bad, they would mock her. But today science has convinced us of the harmful effects of tobacco. Yes, they point to the physical effects, but this author actually also says also mental. This chapter has taught me to take care of the citadel of my body, the fortress of my body, which is my mind. And my mind is affected by what I see, by what I hear, especially by my habits of eating and drinking. Thank you for joining me. I hope you take care of the citadel of your body, your mind. Good night.